Welcome to Mainstream with Harpreet Singh Toor। आप सब ਨੂੰ ਪਿਆਰ ਭਰੀ ਸਤਿ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ, ਨਮਸਕਾਰ, ਆਦਾਬ ਐਂਡ ਸ਼ਲੋਮ। ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਤਾਂ ਆਪ ਸਭ ਨੂੰ ਨਵੇਂ ਸਾਲ ਦੀਆਂ ਲੱਖ ਲੱਖ ਵਧਾਈਆਂ। ਹੋਪਫੁਲੀ ਕਿ 2025 ਆ ਜਿਹੜਾ it will be better than 2024 as far as the wars are concerned going around the world, whether it's a Ukraine war, it's a Israel Hamas issue, it's a Yemen issue, it's a Sudanese issue, which a lot of people, they have totally forgotten about it. And then on top of everything else, we have these little bit other issues going on throughout the world, which actually keep the whole Middle East off balance. And where it will lead, I'm pretty sure that as far as Israel is concerned, I have been saying it, and I'm going to repeat it again, that Netanyahu will not sign any agreement till now. Biden is on his way out. He has achieved one of his main target, that he wanted Trump to come in. And they have their geopolitical way of looking at it. But today, I'm going to talk more about two personalities who departed from this world during last 2 weeks. One is Dr. Manmohan Singh, and the second one is the former president, President Jimmy Carter of United States. So let's talk about first about Dr. Manmohan Singh. Dr. Manmohan Singh, before I go into it, let me remind again, my email address hstoor@gmail.com. Please feel free to send me the message, write it down, Harpreet Singh Toor, hstoor@gmail.com. That's my personal email, and I will prefer any input. Even the people who don't agree with me, I definitely want to hear from them. When these people, the people of that stature, like Dr. Manmohan Singh, Jimmy Carter, and again, I'm going to put some other people in the same category. Joe Biden is one of them. And I'm thinking of I.K. Gujral. He was good. I'm trying to think of the people who were intellectual and who cared about the public and the country, without having any special corner for any particular business entity or anything. And we have to learn from their humbleness, humility. Dr. Manmohan Singh, who was actually born in a village Go in Punjab, which is in Pakistan now, the part of Punjab which is in Pakistan right now. He was born on September 26, 1932. Excuse me, because I'm looking at some of the statistics from the computer as we talk about it from a laptop. And I have seen the transformation of India, and I'm telling you my personal life, what I have seen, what I have watched, and I have seen the transformation of India as a country from where it was since the time I remember. I remember the things from about 1964, 65. I don't remember anything about 1962 war with China, even though I was born at that time. 65 war, I remember everything. 71, of course, after that. And then, the explosion at Pokhara, which Indira Gandhi got done, and then subsequently by the former Prime Minister of India, Mr. Vajpayee, when he came to the power. You know, now Dr. Manmohan Singh, who was born, like I said, in my village, in I think in our village we got electric connection 1970 or 71, something like that. Before that, we did not had any electricity in the village. Okay. Yeah, there were very rare people who had a tractor, very rare people who even had a bicycle at that time. And I'm talking about 1960s and early 1970s. Now the people, they have the cars and motorcycles and everything. And the media, social media particularly, is being used to distort the facts of what the facts are. Lies are bigger now, and I always used to hear that if you say a lie 100 times, it becomes truth. It doesn't become truth because ultimately the history is going to be the judge. So Dr. Manmohan Singh, yeah, his education, he was brilliant. He put in his mind, his efforts, went to Oxford and everything. But let us start with the few things which I would like to share, because I always talk about the freedom of speech, freedom of expression on this show. And believe it or not, I just had a meeting with somebody who came from India, and his brother actually wanted me to meet him, his brother. So I said, okay. So we were talking about it. He asked me some questions. So I told him about my opinion, my view. So let's talk about it. First of all, I always believe that there are offices which are above the dignity of everyday human life experience. Giving the respect when you get elected, even though you get elected, even though you are elected by minority votes, but still you are the leader of everyone in that country, not just the group which voted for you. Unlike the way we see the things now, these days in the current, how the democratic setups are being used or abused, if I may say so, whether it's Trump or, in India, I'm sorry to say, Prime Minister Modi. As I go along, you will hear why I'm saying what I'm saying it. When second time, even though he has been called accidental prime minister, a movie was made where, he was shown in that movie in a very, very negative, bad way in that movie. But ultimately, the person who made the movie, I have to dig out the name of that person. I'll give you at the break, I will dig it out, who made that movie. He apologized the way he showed him. But let's take one thing. There are so many things which actually strike out, but there is one particular thing which I look at. I personally, I'm a fan of having, I look at certain clothes, I'm more into it, but Prime Minister Manmohan Singh, Dr. Manmohan Singh, the former Prime Minister of India, when he was taking oath for the second time as a Prime Minister of India, one of the reporters asked him that, sir, you have the same coat which you had when you took your oath for the first time, Dr. Manmohan Singh looked at the coat like that and he said, what happened? Is it ripped from somewhere? As compared to the current Prime Minister, who, when he took the oath, he had a jacket which costed 5 lakh rupees. Dr. Manmohan Singh still had his Maruti 800 model red, and he drove it himself. So let's take a break, and then I will talk about his humbleness. Then we'll go about his policies and how those policies affected India as it is, right after the break. Welcome back to Mainstream with Harpreet Singh Tour once again, and I will continue where I left. So when you see Prime Minister Manmohan Singh, he has his signature turban, light blue. For me, it's red. I always laugh about it because somebody asked my brother in Indiana if that tour with the red turban is your brother, and he said yes. So, and also, I was at one of the Gurdwara in New York yesterday, and I had a white turban. And the gentleman who met me, we know each other for years, and his immediate comment was, Tur Saab, no. We want you to keep on your red turban, it looks better on you. So I was trying to change it to different colors, but I guess I will end up, sticking to the red turban, a red color, more often than what I was planning to. Anyway, so he actually was, when more you read about it, the more you will find out that even when he was the finance minister, then the prime minister, he will always respectfully receive the people, get up to the people, listen to them, ask them their opinions, and ask their input and everything. And then, even though he himself being one of the scholar, even the former president of United States, Barack Obama, he made a comment that when Dr. Singh speaks, the world listens. And I'm talking about whenever he attended those G20 meetings, how much he was revered by those world leaders, how much he was respected by those world leaders. The respect was to him for his knowledge and his humility. And he actually did earn the degrees instead of making up the degrees. He actually put in the efforts, and he will work 16 to 18 hours a day. And if you really look at the most of the people who are successful in the world, they do work like that. And believe it or not, I'm not one of them. Okay. So when first going to his stint as a finance minister, even though before that he was chairman of the RBI, that actually reminds me, when he was the chairman of Reserve Bank of India, okay, actually even before that, in 1973-74, during the inflation, excuse me, because I'm thinking I read a lot, so I'm thinking putting the things in proper perspective, proper order as I'm talking to you. In 1974, there was 73-74, there was a big inflation, and there was a tremendous rise in the price of wheat and other items. And Indira Gandhi, the Mrs. Indira Gandhi at that time, who was the prime minister, he called in the meeting of all these intellectuals, and Dr. Manmohan Singh was one of them. And everybody was telling, because just remember that every person, including me, you are comfortable looking at the back of your own hand and sticking with it than exploring beyond that. And once you start exploring beyond that, then there is a totally different charm in it. So she asked, and everybody, all those bureaucrats, they started talking about, how it should be nationalized and distribution systems and this and that. And Dr. Manmohan Singh, at that point, he said, well, you have to implement the monetary policies in a way that at the end, the inflation will come down. And because his view was totally different, so Mrs. Indira Gandhi asked him and personally questioning him that, do you guarantee that the prices will come down if we do that? Because the election was coming down the road, so she was, being a politician, she was looking at that election. So he just replied in his regular tone that give it a year and you will see the results, something on those lines. And yes, that was the beginning of implementation of some of the monetary policies. And if I remember it correctly, at that point, it was one of the, the Indian rupee was used to be pegged with against pound, and then it was pegged against a bucket of currencies. That's what the word was used at that time. I don't know which other currencies, but I'm pretty sure besides the pound, it was dollar and maybe some other currencies also. So that made actually Mrs. Indira Gandhi to pick him up as a chairman of the Reserve Bank when the vacancy opened up. And he did become the chairman of Reserve Bank of India. And what happened was, there were some, there was a bank which wanted to open, start their business in India, open up a branch in India, and that was known at that point as one of the most non-reliable, if I may say so, because they were dealing with the customers and holding the money from dubious sources, and bank was known as funding those people and stuff like that. And of course, Dr. Manmohan Singh, being the way he was not in favor of it. And he was not, he didn't want to give the license. And he came to know that Ministry of Finance may give the license, whereas it is the RBI's forte. So what happened was, he literally said that if it happens, he will resign as the chairman of Reserve Bank of India. And that was end of the conversation for that. So that is his persona. Now moving forward, going to him being the finance minister. So he got appointed as a finance minister by P.V. Narasimha Rao once he became the prime minister after Rajiv Gandhi's death. So, let's actually take a break, because I want to do this in this section so that it can be consistent. After the break, I will be right back. Welcome back to Mainstream with Harpreet Singh Toor. So we were talking about Dr. Manmohan Singh being the finance minister, being appointed as a finance minister by P.V. Narasimha Rao as a prime minister. When actually he was announced, it was announced that Dr. Manmohan Singh is going to be the finance minister. He was in Amritsar at his house, and he was watching TV, and he thought that, yeah, it is somebody, someone Manmohan Singh. There are so many, because we Punjabis, we have common names. And so he was like, yeah, okay, somebody got it. But later on, as the phone started ringing, he came to know that he is being appointed as a finance minister. And once he became the finance minister, um, India actually had no foreign currency reserves at that time. I think it was less than $3 billion at that time. And George Fernandez, who was a minister at that point, actually had taken the gold from Reserve Bank of India to as a deposit to Bank of England to borrow the money. That's how bad it was. And once he became the finance minister, he put up the team. After he took the oath, he had to present the budget. And to present that budget, yeah, he was a economist himself. He has, studied in economy, everything. But he actually wanted to get the input from everybody. Let's not forget, India is a diverse country, different cultures, different level of standard of living, and all these things which actually India is. So when you are presenting a budget, you are actually looking at how to meet everybody's need, but at the same time, how to keep the country afloat. So he called in all these eminent economists at that point, and he literally asked them their opinion, including those people who were, civil servants. He, believe it or not, in India, once you are a minister, you dictate, you don't ask, because you think you know everything, because that's the attitude. Right now we have the same attitude. So that was the first interaction where a finance minister is asking openly and encouraging these civil servants who had their own experience to, share their thoughts. He also did one more thing there, which was that he put up his vision that, okay, this is how we are going to proceed. And he said that there are going to be some, people who may not like it, but it is not about certain persons, certain people, it is about the country right now, and we have to look at that. And if somebody feels that he or she cannot be part of the team while these policies are discussed and then implemented, then he will make sure that that person gets equal suitable job wherever they want. But he wants them to be a team player, not just be there mute spectators, give your input. He wanted their input to the hilt so that the proper decisions can be made. And that is something, which actually started the liberalization of India. What India is today, it is because of the policies which were, Dr. Manmohan Singh actually experienced, looked at when he was finance minister, then he became a prime minister. After becoming the prime minister, he actually got the chance to implement those policies, which he did, And so the overall, when we start looking at it, when he became the prime minister, some of the people, they have, even again, in Indian culture, we pay respect to the departed soul. I believe that, yes, um, there's no, the departed soul should be respected, but you should not disrespect the departed soul. If there are facts, talk about the facts. If you did not agree with that departed soul, talk about where you did not agree with the person. Do not demean the person. Somebody put up a post on social media, some Sikh touching the feet of Sonia Gandhi and saying, Dr. Manmohan Singh did that. And when he became the prime minister, even at that point, when it was done, people were talking about it. It was not Dr. Manmohan Singh. To begin with, look at the color of the turban. It's not the same color. Number two, look at the body structure of the person. It is not Dr. Manmohan Singh body structure. And that is again being promoted by the current government. Why? Because they just don't want a proper credit going to where it should be. Everything they look at from their perspective, that okay, this is how it should be, and this is what we want, or this is what our current prime minister excuse me, Mr. Narendra Modi likes, and that's what we are going to do. And that is something, which actually is not appropriate. It is not. So to say that Dr. Manmohan Singh was a unique personality, there is no doubt about it, but he was also a person of, he spoke few words, but whatever he spoke, it meant a lot. And that is something, which we should remember. I still remember, from U.S. Foreign Secretary, Deputy Foreign Secretary just visited India, Mr. Sullivan. He came back and he actually went to India, and because before the administration, Trump administration comes in, this was the last visit by somebody from Biden administration to India. And the conversation was about the enhancement of the cooperation for nuclear, energy and expansion on manufacturing and some other transfer of technology from United States to India related to nuclear energy, as we are transitioning into from fossil fuels to renewable energy. Nuclear energy is one of them. I still remember when that agreement was signed, which is known as 123 agreement. George W. Bush was the president here, and Dr. Manmohan Singh was the Prime Minister of India. An agreement was reached where, some of the research sites of nuclear energy, they were kept out of the IAEA preview. IAEA actually say it is for International Atomic Energy Agency. So, and an agreement was reached, and Prime Minister Manmohan Singh, Dr. Manmohan Singh, came here, United States, to sign that agreement. And when he came to sign that agreement, he was actually, told after arrival, when the agreement's final copy of the agreement, which was to be signed and exchanged, which I'm pretty sure you have seen it, every government does. There were some changes which were made to that agreement, and Dr. Manmohan Singh didn't want that. So we are going to take a break here. After the break, I will be right back, and then we will talk about what happened so that we can see the personality of Dr. Manmohan Singh right after the break. Welcome back to Mainstream with Harpreet Singh Toor. Once again, we will continue where I left about Agreement 123. So Dr. Manmohan Singh actually came to know about those tweets which were done to the agreement, and Condoleezza Rice was the over here. She was Secretary of State, which equals to Foreign Minister. And when he came to know about it, Condoleezza Rice came to see Dr. Manmohan Singh, and he refused to meet her. He said, we reached a gentleman's agreement, and that agreement has been changed without our knowledge, and I refuse to do that. And then the conversation took place that what he's going to do when he goes back. And he actually said, that is my problem, not your problem, that how I explain to my countrymen, and I will not sign on something which we did not agree, and the changes were not made with taking us into full confidence. So she went back to George W. Bush, told him that Prime Minister Manmohan Singh, Dr. Singh is refusing to sign that changed agreement. And guess what? They went back to the original agreed on documents, and she came back to meet him and tell him, inform him actually, which is a more appropriate word, that how, she actually wanted to let him know that we are back to where we were. And that is something, where he refused again. At that point, the Foreign Minister of India, she went to the Foreign Minister of India at that time. I think it was just one Singh at that time, or Natwar Singh. She went back to, I think it was Natwar Singh, went back to Natwar Singh, and Natwar Singh actually came to Dr. Singh, Dr. Manmohan Singh, to inform him that she wants to meet him, and he said, I don't want to meet her because they have changed it. And that's where he was informed that they have agreed to sign the original deal, and that is how that 123 agreement took place. So anybody who is talking about that Dr. Manmohan Singh did not have a spine, this shows that at that time, America was at peak of its power. It still is, no doubt about it. But at that time, it was totally unchallenged in the world. Right now, it has, a couple of challenges going on. So to take a stand, a firm stand at that point, that shows how he was. Then, during his second term, Commonwealth Games happened, and yes, corruption is part of India, its culture and everything, even though right now everything is being pushed under the carpet, no, still the corruption is there. So, then there was coal scam and everything. And interestingly, the person who actually said that coal scam costed the exchequer, I think about 172,000 crore rupees, was proved wrong, and he later on retracted that his report was wrong. But nobody is talking about at current that how all these buildings, all these public properties are being given out to some of the favorite businessmen. Dr. Manmohan Singh did not have any single favorite businessman. He understood the pain because he grew up from there, and he never compromised on that the poor need to be taken care of. And Narega is part of that, what he did. Aadhaar card was product of his brainchild. He was the one who actually knew that where the world is going, where the world will end up. You know, there was another conversation, when Dr. Manmohan Singh was finance minister, to start computerization of the banks and everything. No, sorry, prime minister. That computerization of the banks is has to be done, and every union leader was against it. He called in the meeting of the union leaders. He sat down with them, and everybody was against computerization of the banking in India. All these union leaders, they were like, the jobs will be lost, typical, because like I said, you're always comfortable by, looking at the back of your own hand. And at the end of the meeting, not a single leader agreed to what Dr. Manmohan Singh was envisioning. So what happened was, when they were leaving, one of the main leader of the union, he stopped by, he turned around, he went to Dr. Manmohan Singh, and he said to Dr. Manmohan Singh, even though I don't like what you are doing, but my son loves it. So it was a message for Dr. Manmohan Singh to understand. This is the language which basically, we, if I may say layman, we regular people, we don't understand what it means. That was actually giving a green light to Dr. Manmohan Singh that whatever you are planning to do, yes, it does make sense, and you can go ahead, but with a caution. And look where we are today as far as the banking is concerned. Look at the distribution of the benefits, which is going around with the Aadhaar card. Narega is there, to uplift the people, because he didn't want to leave the poor ever poor. He actually was one of the person who literally had raised more people out of poverty in India than anybody. And believe it or not, the current prime minister is sitting under his watch, more people ended up going back into poverty than there were before. So having said that, so that was Manmohan Singh. Dr. Manmohan Singh had more than 150 press conferences where any journalist can ask any questions. He was grilled about the corruption. He was grilled about everything. And he at one point even said that history will judge me better than what you are judging me today. And those journalists are now talking about it, their personal experiences, telling that how they actually felt about it and how they feel now. I was listening to one of the person who actually was, Joginder Yadav. I was listening to him. He mentioned that how he had been meeting Dr. Manmohan Singh. He had all those meetings and everything. And he also talked about that how he was upfront opposing Dr. Manmohan Singh. And after the current prime minister, after 2014, Dr. Manmohan Singh lost the Congress lost the election. Mr. Narendra Modi came in as a prime minister, and Mr. Yadav went to meet Dr. Manmohan Singh again. And he himself, I'm quoting what he said. He said, when I met him this time, even though I was one of the factor to bring his government down, he did not say anything. He did not show any um, hate towards me or anything towards me. And we sat down and immediately we went to the business that how we can make this country better than what it is, what steps to be taken so that this country can become a better country. That actually shows the actual character of Manmohan Singh, that how you can disagree and you can agree to disagree and still be friends. Unlike one of the interview where the current Prime Minister Modi, when he was the Chief Minister of Gujarat, he gave an interview to Mr. Thapar, and after 3.5 minutes of the interview, he asked for the water, he took the sip of the water, he got up and he walked out saying that let's stay friends, I don't want to lose it. And after that, Mr. Thapar was not given a single chance to sit down and interview Prime Minister Modi. Not a single chance. There are no press conferences with the current Prime Minister. That was the character of Dr. Manmohan Singh. Even though I don't agree with all the policies of the Congress, but the credit where it belongs, it must be given. And I salute that gentleman, not just as a Sikh or a fellow Sikh, but as a person, as a thinker, and a person who changed the history of India and put India on path where India is today. With that note, till next time, good night and good luck.